that was the Heat game number dos, and it's sort of like I hinted at towards the end of the first Heat video. Brooks was not going to make adjustments, and if he did, they weren't going to be helpful. Eric Spoelstra's a insanely good coach, and he wasn't going to simply allow the Heat to come out and play the exact same way. He wasn't going to run the same things. And in this game, the guys that I had honestly expected to maul the hell out of us the first game came up. If it wasn't Hero or Duncan Robinson or basically the entire Heat team getting open for a three, it was Bam Adebayo on that first quarter. He didn't even have that many rebounds, which is crazy, but his first quarter, just like, fouls aside, he was pretty much eating us alive. Our defense continues to take away absolutely nothing. There's never a moment where it's like, okay, so if they're a good three-point shooting team, the Wizards can take that away and force them to drive. That was another thing. The Heat were pretty much able to contain Beal, who literally only made one shot, and I think like a free throw or two. He shot 1 for 14. And what makes it worse is that we're not a team where when a star isn't doing well, we can have other guys step up. And it's not that you need to have insanely great bench guys, but there is something to be said for having a consistent rotation or consistent lineup and being able to adjust when those things aren't working. But unfortunately, our coaching is what it is, and it is very stubborn, and it likes to just have us in awful situations. Like I said the other time, we're going to wake up and Scott Brooks is still going to be the Wizards head coach. I honestly just think he's going to pretty much make it through the entire season. I think this is going to do nothing because I think any other team would have responded with urgency had their coach made consistently baffling decisions that continue to decimate any kind of development, any kind of good play. Nothing good is rewarded. However, I have to say, for all the times we were banging the Mo Wagner drum, he did foul like 3 times in 4 minutes, and like I said, I was saying fouls aside, but there were some like questionable fouls. There's gonna be questionable fouls every game, so I try not to think about it, but because it's just a part of the game. And so when we have things like that happening, it's like, oh great, now this is gonna justify to Brooks to give Mo Wagner like 30 DMPs. And something that I was just thinking about too is the floor is like never spaced. It's never spaced. So like, the reason, other than Beal being insanely cold, that we lost is that we don't have any kind of offense outside of him that's consistent. If Russ is on MVP mode, sure, we have something, but beyond that, it's like the same sort of, there's like this soft Charmin level screen that they set that like the guy just kind of doesn't even rub off the guy. Like it's like you don't even feel the screen if it's from Bertans. Maybe Alex Len. I think Alex Len and Mo occasionally set really good screens, but that's about it. And after that, our offense is, okay, so we just passed it to a guy after we set a screen, so just dribble a bunch of times and see if they give you anything. And most of the time, the Heat were just pretty much swarming us, and there was no real response. Like beyond like the occasional and one from Westbrook, just putrid shooting, just absolutely putrid shooting. We were shooting about 34% when I checked, and the reason that I don't sound as like intensely enraged as I was with the Blazers game was just because it doesn't surprise me. The Wizards are the definition of insanity at times, just kind of bonking your head against the wall and hoping that maybe that will open the door that's across the hall. Like, literally all you gotta do is just get up, walk to the door, and open it, but the Wizards will just bash their head through the wall. And occasionally, sometimes they'll look at the door, and sometimes they even start walking towards it, and then they go running right back into the wall. And it's just like, I I don't like how we run anything. Like I said, the reason that I'm not as mad about Beal going cold is that it was bound to happen against a really good defensive team that just understood that that's our entire offense. Outside of him, like I said, it's for Rui. He was aggressive. He came out aggressive, but it just didn't really translate because again the Heat were kind of being able to have frenetic defense, and they're able to do the things that the Wizards could maybe slightly replicate, like very weakly replicate, but most of the time we're getting eaten alive on defense because there's a lack of communication or someone is leaving someone to go, and the off-ball defense is pretty much falling asleep, and now like somebody's fouling. So it's just kind of just disappointing all around. But it's not surprising. It's not surprising. That's probably why I felt kind of slightly numb after we won the game against the Heat that first game, because I was just like, all right, is this something? Is this actually something, or are we just playing around here? And to my lack of surprise, we were kind of just playing around. And I really feel like if we ran anything, like if we said, hey, let's have Beal be the guy as a decoy, use the fact that he is being targeted instead of just keep we just continue to spam the same plays over and over again despite them not working. And if that doesn't work, just throw the ball around but don't really do anything. And a lot of the times, because we lack like any kind of variety in our offense, another thing I noticed from the Heat, they have a variety in their offense. When like if it's not Jimmy, it's Bam, and if it's not Bam, it's Hero. But on our team, if it's not Beal, it's Westbrook, and if it's not Westbrook, it's Beal. And occasionally it'll get thrown out to Denny or get thrown to Rui, and they might do something, but it probably will get mitigated. I do think that there's like moments with Rui and Denny where like you go like, okay, they can do things, but when Denny just gets randomly yanked out, or Rui is like getting trapped on all these on, or not just trapped, but just they're able to switch on to him because there's no threat from anybody else. They don't respect our team. Our team does not get respected on the 3 point line beyond Beal maybe, because unless Westbrook is going to shoot 55% from three, he's probably not going to continue to do so. Unless Westbrook's shooting like that for the entire season, I doubt they're going to start trying to respect his shot. Even though he's caught a couple. He's got guys on his shot pump fakes, which are interesting, and he was hitting from the mid range today. It's not. I don't want to say it like he's terrible, but our team is crunched on one side of the floor, and then they're just completely linen thin on the other side of the floor. And this is pretty much what you're going to keep seeing, because there's a lack of accountability from the coaching staff that I think is definitely consistent. They don't tend to ever want to say like, and by they I mostly mean Brooks, because he's the one that's going to be in the post game conference. I don't know what these other guys are saying, but seeing as what we consistently run, it must not be something substantial, because every time it's wide open threes or somebody's inside and there's no communication. It's a mix of the players trying to execute what the coaching staff is showing them, and the coaching staff refusing to execute anything when those things stop working. So yeah, I expected this in the first game. I was pleasantly surprised, and then this happened, and I'm like, yep, it's nothing new. It's really hard to say anything but the same thing because the Wizards keep doing the same things, and this is the one time Beal couldn't just like put us on his humongous shoulders and score us to at least a respectable victory. But hey, we went on a 23-5 run with a lineup that we probably will only see in garbage time, because Scott Brooks refuses to run anything different and has inexplicable rotations and nonsensical moves all around. But hey, we went on a 23-5 run, so we actually only lost by about like, let's see, 20 something points still. Cool. If the Wizards like ever can run an offense with any variety, play frenetic defense or at least hustle hard. Troy Brown Jr. wouldn't give up on this game. That was great. Alex Lynn wouldn't give up on this game. That was great. But it feels meaningless only because I know that they won't get rewarded for their good play. I feel like sometimes when Brooks starts running the players that everyone was demanding that he play, they come out and they kind of have a poor showing, and I just attribute that to the fact that there's no rhyme or reason when it comes to Brooks's rotations, and he is actively hampering these guys' careers by running him the way he does. Because he doesn't run them, you could basically not play an entire game. I mean, you could not play for like 5, 6, 7 straight games, and then you just get play, and then you don't get play, even if you play well. So then when you come out and play poorly, it's almost like it doesn't matter because you just don't know with Brooks. And as long as there is that element of confusion and just a lack of any kind of logical movement, we're gonna be seeing the same team for about, let's see, there's 55 games and that, so about 52 more games of this, because I don't think that anyone's gonna get fired. If it is, it's gonna be from a different team. It's not gonna be the Wizards, which sucks because I feel like any other rational team would respond, like, be like, oh hey, our coach is pretty bad, we should probably move on from him. Oh, we're not? Okay. I guess we'll just keep being bad then, because he'll probably underutilize and misuse the players we do give him. That's the thing that kills me, is everyone's like, just trade Beal and rebuild. I feel like we should see what they're like with a decent coach. I just feel like it'd be unfair if we just kind of just disregarded that part. Because you can just say, yeah, just get all the stars. Like, yeah, we can just eventually out-talent our coach. I feel like that if you have a bad coach, what you should do is get a good coach that the players don't have to win in spite of, but they win because the coach is using them in the proper things. And that's what I mean by it when I've said previously, get rid of the entire staff because they don't do anything. There's nothing there. So I think I'm done. I think I'm done talking about us getting absolutely cooked by the Heat. So our next game is against the Hornets. Oh boy. They have a dynamic playmaker and guys that attack the rim. And a Gordon Hayward that's just been torching everybody, apparently. Woohoo! Not liking our chances. Well, this guy says, it's well known that Hornets hate any living thing on this earth. But I wonder how they feel about Wizards. And if Wizards have any kind of bug spray, we should be good. But these Wizards would probably go to a beach during a pandemic and just get absolutely crispified. I don't know. WizWatch.